Right, so before we can even start training to get strong at our maximum range of motion, we need to warm up. And in this video, I'll be demonstrating the full warm up in detail that we'll do before we start each training session. Okay, following the principle of intelligent repetition, I've chosen exercises for our warm-up that are specific to our training goals. So while we could have used jogging or skipping or cycling or any sort of low impact activity to increase blood flow, it's better for us to use exercises that get us warm and stretch our target muscles at the same time. So again, jogging and skipping and so on, they are really great warm-up exercises. But to be more efficient with our time, we'll use exercises that are going to prepare us specifically for our strong side splits program. And actually, before we go through the exercises, let me give you a really brief outline of the muscle groups we're going to work. And because there are so many individual muscles in the leg, I'm just going to refer to these as muscle groups, just to keep things simple. So here at the front, at the top is our hip flexor group. And below that is our quad group. On the outside, the gluteus group partly wraps around the side. Here we're going to refer to them as the abductor group. Abductor for abduction, because these muscles help take the leg away from the center line. At the back, we have the gluteus group at the top and the hamstrings group below that. On the inside is our adductor group. So that's basically 6 main groups, but for the strong side splits, we're mainly going to focus on the adductor group on the inside and partly on the hamstrings at the back. But mainly most of our exercises are going to train our adductors to be strong at their maximum range of motion. And the other leg muscle groups will support that goal. Now, the reason I gave that quick anatomy overview is because it helps set up this key point. And that is, if you want to be flexible in one direction, you need to be flexible in many directions. So in the context of this program, to get strong side splits, we need to stretch more than just our hip adductors for lateral flexibility. We also need to give at least some attention to the other muscle groups that I listed. And that's exactly what we're going to do in this program. So as I demonstrate these exercises, I want you to keep in mind that I'm just giving a basic and general description of the movements, because everyone's own body is slightly different. Everyone's muscle origins and insertions are slightly different, and everyone's limbs and levers and joints, they're all slightly different as well. Of course, the differences are tiny, but you still need to find the best way for you to do an exercise so that you can correctly engage your target muscles. But still, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying, that you can just make things up. There are definitely wrong and dangerous and painful ways to perform these exercises. So you still need to be really intelligent about how you do them. But at the same time, you still need to find the best way to do them for your body. Okay, so with all of that said, let's start. Okay, we're warming up big muscle groups first, quad group and gluteus group here. Stick your butt out so your knees stay behind your toes. And it's just a quick warm up, so take it easy. Breathe in through the eccentric phase as the target muscles lengthen under load. So that is inhale as you go down, and then breathe out through the concentric phase as the target muscles shorten under load. So exhale as you come up. And then when you're comfortable, try to increase the depth of each squat just a little bit. We're still warming up big muscle groups, and this one is primarily for our hamstring group. So with straight legs and a straight back, lean forward as far as it's comfortable for your hamstrings. Try your best to keep your back straight so that the stretching load is mainly on your hamstrings, and keeping your head up will help that. When you're about as low as you can comfortably go, contract your hamstring group first. Let them initiate the lift and then lift with your spinal erectors in your lower back. Breathe in through the eccentric phase as the target muscles lengthen under load. So here you should breathe in as you go down. Then breathe out through the concentric phase as the target muscles shorten under load. So here you should breathe out as you come up. And remember that this is just a warm-up. Take it easy at first, and when you're comfortable, try to increase your range just a little bit. As we do this warm-up exercise, focus on the fact that our target muscles are our hip adductor group on the inside of our hips. If you're doing it right, there should be almost no load on your quads, and you can almost treat it like a rest. Okay, so start with your feet wider than your shoulders and then place your elbows on your knees, and you should be able to rest in this position almost forever. If you find too much load on your quads, then try leaning forward to help shift the load onto your adductor group. From here, squeeze your knees in against your elbows. That way your elbows create resistance in the concentric phase of the exercise. That is, as your target muscles contract. So that's as your hip adductors contract. In the eccentric phase, as the target muscles lengthen under load, as the hip adductors lengthen, use your hip abductors, that's the muscles on the other side of your adductors, the muscles on the outside of your hips, use them to open your knees to a comfortable range of motion, then repeat. Breathe in through the eccentric phase as the target muscles lengthen under load, so here you should breathe in as your knees open. Then breathe out through the concentric phase as the target muscles shorten under load. So here you should breathe out as your knees come in against your elbows. The only muscles that are really working are the target muscles, the hip adductors in my groin. And when you're comfortable, try to increase your range just a little bit. These are similar to our first squats, but we're going to lower ourselves on one leg this time and keep the other leg extended. And this is a very specific warm-up for the splits. So we're targeting the adductor group again inside our hips. Breathe in through the eccentric phase as the target muscles lengthen under load. So here you should breathe in as you go down. Then breathe out through the concentric phase as the target muscles shorten under load. So here you should breathe out as you come up. And then when you're comfortable, just like with all of the warm-up exercises, try to increase your depth just a little with each squat. This one is a dynamic stretch that's very specific to the side splits. The target muscle is a hip adductor group again, and we want to stretch them with the opposing muscle group by contracting the hip abductors on the outside. Try not to swing your leg or create too much momentum with the rest of your body. Just focus on creating a controlled lift by contracting your abductors. And breathing is a little different in this because we exhale as the antagonist contracts. So that's as the abductors contract. So breathe out as you lift your leg. And again, when you're comfortable, try to increase the lift just a little bit. And this one is a dynamic stretch for your hamstring group. And we want to stretch them with the opposing muscle group by contracting the hip flexor group and the quad group. Again, try not to swing your leg or create too much momentum with the rest of your body. Just focus on creating a controlled lift by contracting your hip flexor group. Exhale as the antagonist contracts, so that's as the hip flexor group contracts and lifts your leg. So breathe out as you lift your leg. And again, when you're comfortable, try to increase the lift just a little. Okay, let's get into the actual stretching exercises that we'll use throughout the beginner's routine.